There
Hey,
we
it's a great
go.
Wednesday here. Glad you're with us, even though I don't really love Wednesdays. I don't know what it is about a Wednesday, but hey, we can see that the college football week 5 is fast approaching. So we're
Is it?
excited about that. Yes, slowly but surely.
me
I know some
check.
teams are off out there. PM's on vacation, so that's kind of tough. But Chris the Bammer caught one live inning of baseball last night.
Woo-hoo.
Yeah. Way to go, Chris.
Given the fact that 36 innings, Chris goes 1 inning out of 36.
Hey,
Knowing Chris, that's pretty good. Good job,
somewhere.
Chris.
Yeah.
Woo.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's
one more inning than I watched yesterday.
Oh, hey. Well, see, it counts. One of the things I love about technology is a little something called the MLB app.
Oh, okay.
I don't listen to as much Major League Baseball as I used to. I don't consume it as much as I used to. I don't like it as much as I love baseball, love college baseball. Always been a big Major League Baseball fan, but the game has changed. But postseason, John has said it before. I had kind of heard it before I met John, but John was like, hey, man, in sports, the postseason is everything. Yeah, you got games in college football that the legislature may have
rammed down your throat.
Oh, yeah, forced down your throat. I'm trying to get all my longshoreisms together.
Yeah.
You may have games against namby-pamby, worthless, meaningless schools. You may have college football games against teams that aren't worthy of you, or you got to play them or whatever.
Usually schools with alphabet in their names or directions or things like that.
But it's the postseason, man. We got to change the postseason. I'll never forget the first day I met John was actually the first day we worked together.
Yeah, man.
It's not like John and I had been longtime friends and said, hey, we got to do a show together. John had been doing this show. I had been doing radio for about 12 or 13 years. And they put us together, and it was like the opening scene between John C. Reilly, it's 2 straight days of mentioning him, and Will Ferrell in Step Brothers. We're like looking at you, they're going, hey, what's up?
Sight unseen, never met. Popped into the studio. Barry's sitting there waiting. It's, like the first day of school. He's sitting there ready to go. Everything's neat and nice.
Bright, shine, everything. Got my pencils. Well, no, John's the one that has all his pencils in a row. And he looks at me.
I roll in. I open the door. I'm talking to somebody down the hall. Can you believe that guy said that? Unbelievable. Gee whiz.
Hey, yeah. Barry, right? Yeah, Barry. Barry, how are you? Nice to meet you. John's like, okay. All right. What do you think about college bowl games? Me, fresh, rosy-cheeked, wet behind the ear. Ooh. I like college bowl season.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
It's the worst. Here's what we need to do to change it. And they said, well, can we at least wait until we get the microphones on, until it's showtime?
Yeah. Bowl games.
Bobby Cox. Love Bobby Cox.
Baseball. There were several things. Gambling. I'm not sure Barry had talked a lot of gambling till he met me.
Never. I'm thinking, what is this? What is this? Chalk? The heck is chalk? Vigorous?
Yeah.
What a stupid word, But what was one of the things is postseason. John said, man, postseason, love it. Got to change it in college football. Need more of it. In baseball, it's not enough. And so here we are in the baseball postseason. 4 games yesterday in the wild card, best of 3. And I was, got my MLB app, which I am a subscriber to, so I can listen in my car. And listening, and I'm at work, I'm listening to the first game. My buddy Gunner and I had to call, because it was the Guardians. Really good game. Detroit wins it 2-1. Didn't do very much with the San Diego and Cubs game, but then again,
more on that. That was a 2:08 start yesterday. That was kind of a tough start for folks.
Yeah, Chicago wins it more later. I did watch, I think, from the first pitch to the end, I definitely watched to the end. I don't know if I made the first pitch of the Boston Yankees wild card series in New York. Yankees had a 1-0 lead forever. It was a really well-pitched game. Max Fried for the Yankees, Garrett Crochet for the Red Sox. Boston takes a 3-1 lead into the bottom of the ninth. The Yankees have got a pitcher. He's like 37, named Aroldis Chapman. He has thrown harder than anybody in Major League Baseball ever since Nolan Ryan retired. Throwing 104, 105. He's 37. He had a really good year this year, closing games out for the Red Sox. 3-1 bottom of the ninth inning. 3 straight hits. Bases loaded, nobody out.
Come on.
Yankees crowd going crazy. Let me see if I can remember. He strikes out Giancarlo Stanton. Next guy, he gets out, not a strikeout, and then he strikes out the last guy. And
stay with us, Bob, from Pike Road. Stay with us. Don't bail yet.
The game. And then last night, I watched a little bit. I watched Teoscar Hernandez hit 2 home runs for the Dodgers. I saw Shohei Ohtani hit one about 7 million feet.
Yeah.
It was great.
Well, I'm going to take your word for it, Barry. Sundance had a Law and Order marathon on last night. It was famous people that were guests on Law and Order that weren't famous then but are famous now.
You know who's usually one of those? Is David Caruso. He's been on like some, but
Liam Neeson. He was on.
No way.
Yeah, he was on a Miami Vice episode way back in the day. Yeah,
and nobody knew who he was.
Nobody knew who he was. Heck, Bruce Willis was on a Miami Vice episode way back in the day. Yeah, sure was. Yeah, but I was watching a little of that, mixed in a little Fox News, trying to get the skinny on who our next senator is going to be to replace Tommy Tuberville. Some very interesting names have potentially thrown their hats in the ring. I'm not one of them yet. But it is Wednesday and PM is on vacation. So I'm a little bummed about that. I'm not getting my daily dose of that, but I am going to move on. Really looking forward to talking to our first guest in about 20 minutes or so. CJ Duncan from Yellowhammer News, of course, former Vanderbilt player, was a wide receiver for the Commodores, went on to play a little NFL as well. Get his thoughts about this weekend's matchup at 2:30. Robert Kahn from Phoenix Physical Therapy. Several injuries we're going to talk about with Robert today on the program. Josh Harris, the Moneyline Magician, in hour number 2 at the bottom of that hour. I mentioned this last week. Well, somebody brought it to my attention yesterday that I'd mentioned in the summer that Alabama was going to beat Georgia in the regular season but lose to South Carolina later on. One of those things has happened. I'm not so sure about the latter on October the 25th. But one other thing that I did mention, last week was about television ratings. And I wondered what game's going to have the best TV rating? Oregon at Penn State or Alabama at Georgia? And I've been kind of looking around for it, and I see overnight that they released these numbers. Alabama and Georgia pulled 10.4 million viewers with a peak of close to 14 million. I guess that's when it became a little tighter in that game. Oregon and Penn State, 8.5 million.
Yeah, that's what I've got.
That kind of surprises me, Barry. I got to tell you, that game would have outrated the Georgia-Alabama game.
By almost 2 million viewers on average.
That kind of surprised me a little bit there. I don't know. Maybe I've fallen into that Big Ten trap and, one West Coast coming into mid-America. Hey, good for Bama and Georgia. Prime time, so was the other one. They were head-to-head. I wonder what the ratings would have been if that game had been played in the afternoon and it was just Alabama-Georgia game on it at that time slot.
Maybe so. Maybe it would have been different. Not much. I mean, 1.9 million is a pretty good bit. I don't know that it would have. There are people going, man, I'd really love to watch that Oregon Penn State game. Too bad it's not at night. Maybe a couple, but not 1.9 million. A couple of things about that. Since John brings that up, I've looked up the numbers, and he's right on all of that so far. Number 3 was LSU. I'm not saying you're not. You're going to be wrong again, although you will be, but. There's other games. LSU Ole Miss, 6.7 million on ABC.
Afternoon. A lot of games on during that time.
Game.
Yep.
Ohio State, Washington on CBS.
Yep.
You know, so Alabama, Georgia was ABC. Oregon, Penn State was NBC. LSU, Ole Miss was ABC. Ohio State, Washington, CBS.
Yeah.
5.2 million. Those CBS executives are banging their heads against the wall saying, what did we do? Why didn't we? Oh,
now,
you know, Alabama, Georgia, almost exactly twice as many viewers as Ohio State, Washington.
That's interesting. I would have thought Ohio State would have pulled a bigger number. I'm not sure if Washington's that big of a draw in the Pacific Northwest. They seem to have other things that they're more involved in. But those are Auburn, you ask? Auburn, Texas A&M. Oh, I've got it right here.
That was on ESPN. 2.47 million, which is an interesting number. Again, ESPN, Auburn, Texas A&M, 2.47 million, which curiously is enough, is the same number as the penalty yards Auburn had in that game.
Whoa.
Which is weird. You know, you didn't expect something like that.
Well, you know, Barry, there was a lot of competition in that window. You know, a lot of other games going on. Don't let that number, you know, get you down. 2.47 million. It's okay. A lot of going on. You know, it was a beautiful Saturday afternoon. People out doing stuff, playing golf, whatever. You maybe weren't parked in front of the TV until it got dark. But I was a little surprised. I thought Penn State, Oregon would draw a bigger number.
In case you're wondering, let me put all of this in a big bow since we're talking about the weekend television ratings.
Yep.
And John and I have said ad infinitum over and over and over again, college football is 180 degrees different than it used to be. It barely even resembles what it looked like when John and I were in our formative years watching it. And you were geeked up if your team was on TV 2-3 times a year. Well, it's on all the time. Payers are getting paid now, hundreds of thousands of dollars. You know, you can, again, I'm do my spotting charts every week for football, and I've got a little cube for every one of the 2-deep members on each team. And now half of my 2-deep, half of my cube, my spotting chart squares, are this guy began his career at Oklahoma, then Tyler Junior College, then Penn State, now South Alabama. This guy began here, then here, then here, then here. It's just, I mean, it's all different, right? I mean, it is really different. And John, you and I hear the old fogies out there, the people who are maybe our age but aren't as cool as we are, which is basically everybody.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like it. I'm not watching it. It's just different. I don't care for it. It's not the same. I'm out. Well, according to all the networks, all the games, all the viewers, college football, television-wise, is pacing at a record high, up 19% year over year. And on a 5-year trend, when all of this really started happening, of plus 36%.
Yeah.
That's according to Fox Sports president of Insights and Analytics, Michael Mulvihill, who says this, quote, if there's an argument that anything other than college football is the hottest sport out there, I'd be curious to hear it.
Well, I'll say this. The
NFL are loving it more than ever.
The NFL doubles college football ratings. I saw some of the NFL games on Sunday afternoon getting in the 20s. I'm thinking, are you kidding me? But I think what he's trying to tell you, what he's trying to tell you here is better scheduling, better competition. Abilene Christian is not playing Ohio State. You know, Mercer's, you know, in Alabama, forget it. They want quality matchups each and every week. The general public wants it. The football public wants it. They want the best matchups. Hate it for you other schools. That's just the way it is. Really do. I hate it for you.
For those people who are trying to rationalize to themselves, well, this is why I hate it. What it also tells us is people don't care that the starting quarterback at Oklahoma was at Washington State last year, or the starting quarterback at Auburn was at Oklahoma last year. A lot of them want him to go. But anyway, they don't care that these guys have been in their third and fourth school. They're watching college football on television more now than ever before. And John's right. The NFL is up there, but if you're investing, that's like, I can't even think of the morning shows, like First Take or whatever that program is.
Maria Bartola on Fox Business.
Those people are up here.
Yeah.
If you're going to buy that as a stock, you're going to have to pay a pretty good bit. But we're looking for stocks that are moving up. Longshore and McKnight. Just trending upward, hot as can be, right?
That's right.
That's college football. The NFL's up here. If you're going to buy advertising for the NFL, you're going to have to pay a pretty penny. College football, I'm telling you, the people at ABC, ESPN, who have the SEC contract, man, being a salesman for those guys, those guys have got summer homes and Turks and Caicos. Those guys
they're actually sitting at their desk waiting for the phone to ring. They're not making cold calls. They're not hoping to hit 1 out of 10 cold calls. They're sitting feet up on their desk, smoking a cigar. Bing, hold on. There's somebody else wants to get in on this parade. Yeah. Hold on. Give me 5 minutes. Let me lock this guy down. Yeah. It's exactly what's happening. So
that is what's happening. That's not John's opinion. That's not my opinion. That's the numbers. And believe me, if anybody understands the numbers, it's us, because we've been crushing them for a generation here. We know.
Exactly. You were exactly right on that. Matter of fact, somebody wants some information on this program recently. Hey, you got any numbers on your program? I sure do. I'll email it to you today. Matter of fact, in the next 5 minutes.
That's
Theodis, were you taking a shot at me early today? PM takes as many vacays as Longshanks? Whoa, wait a minute.
Let me see. That's the thing about Theodis, Plainsman Preston, is when you reference something, he's already got like 16 on there. So,
just to let you know, Preston, I will be out next Friday. If you want to go ahead and put that on your schedule.
Yeah.
I just going to let you know.
Take your shots, whatever. But that's the truth. Okay.
Hey, Bob from Pike Road's in as well. We'll get to him when we come back from the break. Man, you're right. Plainsman Preston is hitting it hard today.
Yep.
Woo.
Well,
man.
Very happy man going to be joining us at the bottom of our first live hour. CJ Duncan from Yellowhammer News. We'll talk with him. Kind of an unhappy person will join us at the bottom of the next live hour. That's the Phantom with his daily dog. Lots more to get to as well. We are underway on Wednesday, first day of October. He's John Longshore. I'm Barry McKnight. This is Longshore and McKnight in association with Yellowhammer News, presented by Bud Light.
Hey, folks, how often do you think about your roof? Probably not often at all. I know I didn't until I needed a roof replacement. And I call my friends at Roof Life. Whether it's roof inspections, roof repair, or insurance roof replacement, Roof Life is there for you. They use the highest quality products, top quality craftsmanship, and if you're like me, your roof can be replaced in 1 day. So if you're in need of a roof inspection, roof repair, or insurance roof replacement, get in touch with my friends at Roof Life today. You can go to roofyourlife.com. That's roofyourlife.com, or dial them up locally at 334-306-6712. That's 334-306-6712.
The Bush Guide, cold and smooth survival skills. For a successful stint in the great outdoors, pack accordingly. Place heavy essentials near your spine for stability in rough terrain, with light items near the bottom. Now, you may be wondering, where does the Bush Light go? In your stomach. Head for the mountains. Enjoy responsibly. Copyright 2023, Anheuser-Busch, Bush Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Stivers Ford of Montgomery has F-150s over 16 grand off plus 2.9%. And your last chance for a tax credit on Lightnings. 17 grand in savings or 0% or $349 a month with zero down.
Stivers Ford, where price sells Fords.
Stivers Ford of Montgomery has Broncos under 35 grand. Bronco Sports under 24 grand. Rockies under 29 grand or $299 a month with zero down. And new Explorers 10 grand off or 2.9%.
Stivers Ford, where price sells Ford.
Okay, about 21 minutes past the hour here on a Wednesday. Longshore McKnight, presented by Bud Light. A lot going on today. A lot of baseball. Still looks like the same schedule as yesterday. 4 games staggered out throughout the day, so you can catch them throughout the day if that is what you like. I'm wondering about guys like John from Wetumpka.
Curtis was lamenting yesterday on the chat line. He said, John, been looking all over. Trying to find the Braves game here. Do you have a link to it? Any idea how to get? He was carrying them in the postseason.
Robbie from Greenville. All these so-called Braves fans out there. Now that your team has packed up the bats and gloves and waiting for the pitchers and catchers to go to spring training in about 2 weeks, it's not 2 weeks. It just feels that way. What do you do? I mean, if you're a Braves fan and you got to watch these other teams in postseason, it's kind of chap you a little bit.
I got a buddy of mine. His name is Chase Robinson. He is the kind of the operations manager for the local commercial radio station in Troy.
Yep.
And, I've mentioned, you said before, where can you even watch the Braves? Well, you can watch it. I mean, you can listen to the Braves here in Troy on one of their 2 FM stations. And so I was talking to him. He says, well, because they carry Troy football, basketball, women's basketball, baseball, all that stuff. He says, I got it, and of course, a ton of high school football. He says, I got to tell you, it's a little bit easier now. All these years we've had to deal with the Braves in the postseason. Now we're free and clear. You didn't have to worry about it. It's less of a headache.
What does the program director at stations like that do going, gee whiz, I thought I'd have the Braves to fill in now. I guess now I got to put in oldies and goldies or something.
Now, this is true. We talk about John and my history together. Way back when John and I first started, we were on in the afternoons. And for some reason, I never looked to find out why. John never cared. We carried the Cubs.
Well,
remember that?
Why? I can tell you why.
We were on in the afternoon. We carried the Cubs, and the Cubs played at Wrigley, and they played a lot of day games.
They did. Yes, they did.
And John has always been a future schedules guy. I never can figure that out. Every year when we were on the air in the afternoon, man, the Cubs schedule would come out. John would come skipping in the studio. Okay, what do you got? Ooh, they got the Reds in the afternoon. 3 games that week. Okay. Let's see. Let me call. All right, tea time that day.
Yeah.
All right, I can do that day too. Okay. And all that.
The Cubs preempted a lot of afternoon programming, but that wasn't my choice. That decision was made before yes.
Because there was a lot of input John used to have on programming. The Fabulous Sports Babe. Got to get rid of her. Got to get Romy in.
Yeah.
What are we doing? Carrying the Braves and and this and that.
That wasn't
John
my
was a big
either.
fan of the Cubs. He said, man, I'm loving the Cubs.
Well,
they're playing really well. John said, are they?
That decision was made prior to my arrival. Somebody else was in that time slot. We flip-flop, went to the morning, which was a great move.
It was a great move.
So we didn't have to worry about that anymore. But the Braves got hot. People started getting interested in them, so they kicked the Cubs to the curb, put the Braves on. And this is before anybody cared about the Braves. I mean, the Braves were terrible. They were drawing flies to Fulton County. There again, they got hot, and then everybody was watching them on TBS. Oh, where's the radio for it? We can't listen to the Braves on the radio. That's why that move was made. And also, so they would have a regularly scheduled local radio program 5 days a week instead of, we might have it today, we might have it, we might not, depending on what the Cubs are doing.
Yeah.
Which I thought that was kind of crazy.
It is kind of crazy, but it's also crazy. I grew up in Florida. And, weather's always good where I lived on the Atlantic coast in the middle of the state in Central Florida. and everybody played baseball. All my friends were baseball fans, lived right across the street from me. It was baseball. Love football.
Yeah.
I love football as much as anybody. I make a sizable chunk of my living because of football. Basketball, all that. Moved to Alabama, to finish college. And Alabama's got a great baseball history. Henry Aaron is from here. Willie Mays is from here. Billy Williams is from here. All these people.
Billy D. Williams?
No, not Billy D. Williams, although he played in a great baseball movie with Richard Pryor called Bingo Long.
Yeah. Was that the one where the train went through the outfield?
It is. Oh, my. James Earl Jones was in that movie. But people in Alabama didn't care about baseball. I'm thinking, wait a minute.
Nuh-uh.
No, man, it's all football. John says, I didn't have any of my friends.
I had some friends that grew up playing Dixie Youth baseball or whatnot, but my father didn't introduce me to baseball till I was like 13.
I can't imagine.
Because he's thinking, I ain't sitting in a baseball park all summer long.
So, I mean.
So I was at Navarre Beach or on the golf course all summer, not knowing what baseball was, but we played a ton of backyard football growing up. And I'm talking about don't play tackle, only two-hand touch. Okay, Mom, sure. There were more broken bones in backyards around my neighborhood than any organized football because we played tackle. And it was every Sunday afternoon. You knew, go here, we're playing football on Sunday afternoon, and you might get hurt.
Yeah. I can't, and I played football when I was a kid. People would rather, instead of talking baseball during the summer in the state of Alabama, right, instead of talking baseball, man, what do you think about the Braves? They got this hotshot left-hander. I don't know. I think he'll be, will they start him or will he be a reliever? Nuh-uh. What we get, people would rather, I guess, talk about Clark Lee, Diego Pavia, and the senior-laden Vandy team will be a handful for Bama Saturday. This game is massive for Bama and DeBoer. Definitely a turning point game for Bama. Bob from Pike Road. Georgia wasn't a turning point game? This is the turning point game? Maybe so. We
after
also
last year. Yeah.
We were talking about ratings, how Alabama, Georgia ratings were significantly better than Ohio State and Oregon.
Penn State.
Penn State and Oregon. Bob says Bama versus Georgia is big boy football. Penn State versus Oregon is good, but not great football. Two teams have won a bunch of natties lately. The other two have not won any. I'm telling you, that Penn State-Oregon game was a great game.
Yeah.
But, this is what evidently people would rather hear. Great news for the fans of Lee County. Bob never says Auburn if he can help it. It's Lee County, and he giggles at himself. Great news for the fans of Lee County. You can't lose this Saturday. You are on by. What a blessing from the Lord. Enjoy the non-losing weekend. You may not have many more this year with a laughy face emoji.
I knew we'd.
Is that what you were? I mean, I'm sitting here talking about Aroldis Chapman getting in trouble in the ninth for the Yankees and pitching his way out of it. And Bob's like, I'd rather talk some smack about Auburn.
Hey,
again.
Barry, have you been on Tighter Insider message board this week?
They've been better. the last, Sunday, not so great.
No.
Today, they're on there talking about the evolution of Ty Simpson and, how we need to stop the run. I mean, it's been better.
Before we go to break, here's our extent of Major League Baseball growing up as kids. Getting on our bicycles, riding up to the 7-Eleven because they got a new set of baseball cups. You get an icy, and they'd be like a baseball player on it, and his stats on the back. You trade them around, and if there was a player that nobody had, you'd ride your bike up there with a quarter and get an icy so you could get that cup with the baseball player on it. Called baseball trading cups when we were kids at the 7-Eleven. That's about the extent of baseball in my youth.
That's a misspent youth. I mean, that's
so many. Lou Piniella with the Kansas City Royals, I believe he played for, had to have a Lou Piniella cup.
Never could get his Ray Fosse unloaded.
I finally got a Ray Fosse cup.
Yeah.
I had to kick and scream to get it. He was a catcher for the Cleveland Indians, and man, it was tough.
I've got 3 Lou Pinellas. Golly, I'll give you 5 Biff Pokerobas. All I want is one of yours. One of your Ray Fosses, and I'm good.
Well, it was tough.
When we come back,
the
man we've been waiting for, An alum of the 5-0 Vanderbilt University Commodores, C.J. Duncan, will join Longshore and McKnight in a moment in association with Yellowhammer News, presented by Bud Light.
Known by avid golfers as one of the most beautiful and challenging stops on the Robert Trent Jones Golf Trail, Cambrian Ridge in Greenville lies just 40 miles from Montgomery. It is well worth the ride for any golfer looking for 27 holes of jaw-dropping golf. The greens have been redesigned to accommodate the higher green speeds associated with their installation of the latest generation of ultra-dwarf Bermuda grass. Cambrian Ridge offers a fully stocked pro shop with all the latest equipment and apparel. Great food and beverages in the clubhouse can be enjoyed both before and after your round. Get your group together and hit the trail. Go to rtjgolf.com/Cambrian Ridge for tee times and more information.
This isn't going to work. No matter what we say, some people still drive drunk. But we're Budweiser. Giving a damn is what we do. So, if you think it's okay to drive drunk, if you think it's something that's debatable, or you just simply don't care, this Bud is not for you. Give a damn. Don't drive drunk. Enjoy responsibly. Budweiser Beer, Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri.
Prattville Carpet is the most trusted name in flooring in the River region. Ray Bowles and his staff have an extensive line of Mohawk, stain-resistant carpeting in all the latest styles and colors. Prattville Carpet also has hardwood, vinyl, and ceramic tile for all of your flooring needs. Professionally installed at the absolute lowest prices. Take advantage of cash and carry vinyl plank at just $239 a foot. Call them today to set up your free measurement for your home, office, lake house, hunting camp, or wherever you need flooring. 285-8117. That's 285-8117, or drop by 2201 Cobbs Ford Road in Prattville for Prattville Carpet. Okay, we're back at it here about 28 minutes to the top of the hour. We bring in our friend C.J. Duncan, Yellowhammer News. Big week. Man, what a game. College game day is going to be in Tuscaloosa for Vanderbilt at Alabama. CJ, how you doing this morning?
I'm doing all right this morning. How are you guys doing?
We're doing really well, full of questions. I had a chance, a little extra time over the weekend to fully watch Vanderbilt beat Utah State, and Utah State ain't bad. Golly, Diego Pavia, I mean, just the will of that guy, because I'm not saying it was in doubt or anything, but man, when they needed something, that guy got him something every time. It was unbelievable. And now they're 5-0. Has that been the theme? You know, if you take all 5 games in a big block, has that been how Vanderbilt football has looked this year? Just exerting their will? I hope you can hear him, John.
No, we're going to get CJ to hit his mic, turn his mic on. You got your mic on there?
Let's see.
There we go. He could get that hooked up there for us.
Let's hope so.
Hey, guys, can you hear me?
Yeah,
we got you.
We got you.
There we go.
Yeah, sorry about that. But yeah.
That's okay.
So Vanderbilt is 5-0 right now. They're just following the lead of their quarterback. And, you know, he exudes so much confidence, and that just spreads throughout the entire team. So whether we're up, whether we're down, there's still that common goal of getting a win and also exerting dominance. You know, once you get up, you can't stop, right? You got to keep going, and you have to set a tone to get ready for the next week. And so each week that we play, the objective is to dominate the opponent. And so when Diego's out there playing the way that he does, and it's a controlled chaos in a way, right? It's hard to really put your arms around exactly what he does. He's so unpredictable. But then again, he's still on the same page with his teammates and with his coaches. And it's awesome to see.
You know, what's impressed me, well, a lot of things have impressed me, CJ, about this team, but you know, they're averaging like 50 points a game. They're beating everybody they play by at least 20. So it's not like they're, you know, kicking field goals at the end of the game to win it. I mean, they're dominating. They're putting a ton of points on the board. and they're beating teams by 20 or more every week.
Yeah, I think that, you know, historically, people have underrated Vanderbilt and for, good sense. I totally understand that. But we've got some really talented guys out there. It's not just, your old Vanderbilt where you got a couple 3-star guys out there and they're playing hard, but as soon as you get to the twos, it's kind of game over kind of deal. But right now, we've got some really talented kids that will have NFL opportunities. We got a solid run game, explosive, tough. And then Diego, you add him to that running game, and then you got a tight end that could be a first or second round pick. These are guys that can play with the best of them in the country. So this isn't a fluke. This isn't anything that we expect to really go away. And, this weekend is a huge weekend for our program. This changes the trajectory of our program. You're 5-0 going into Tuscaloosa, got game day. We've got the platform. Now, how do we respond to that, right? How do you handle success? And I think that we'll know a lot about our ball club after this weekend.
Well, speaking of that, of the opportunity that presents itself, it'll be only the second time ever that Vanderbilt will be featured on College Game Day. John and I remember well the last time. It was in the Auburn game up in Nashville. Vanderbilt ended up winning that game. I think the quarterback was a guy named Mackenzie Adams, who led Vanderbilt there. And I remember that one. And John remembers that.
That was a 14-13 Vandy win, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it was 1 point, whatever it was.
Against Tuberville.
And I remember that because College Game Day was out there, and my favorite sign ever in the history of College Game Day was on that edition from Nashville when a Vandy student had a sign, and it said, enjoy yourselves, Auburn. You'll be working for us someday. That was a good one.
That's a good one. Those Auburn kids are smart, too.
Yeah, the opportunity there, again, off to a 5-0 start for the first time since 2008, just the second 5-0 start in 80 years, second time on College Game Day. And I want people to understand, maybe you can continue to reinforce it, it hadn't been a fluke. When people thought about Vanderbilt, okay, how is Vanderbilt going to be consistently successful? I think they ought to run a gimmick offense, the run and shoot, or do like Army and run the wishbone or something like that. They're doing it. They're one of only 4 Power 5 teams in the country that are in the top 20 in the nation in rush offense and rush defense. They have been winning the line of scrimmage, which surprises a lot of people, CJ, that Vanderbilt can do that.
Well, this is the thing, and I said this at the beginning of the season, and I said it in a way of just trying to hold back all the excitement that I had, just wanted to let the season play out. But This is a tough team, and a tough team that can't sneak up on anybody anymore. Everybody's got the tape on Diego. Everybody has the tape on the guys that we have on our roster. A lot of them are older guys that have been in the program. And so for us to continue to perform the way that we're performing says a lot about our toughness, our grit, and also Clark Lee. Clark Lee is a former athlete at Vanderbilt from Nashville. He knows the X's and O's better than anybody, but also I think him being a former athlete, a former Vanderbilt University athlete, helps him in the locker room as well. He can relate to the guys. It's not just his IQ, but his EQ. And I think that we're starting to see that where the team is responding to him, the team is responding to Diego, and they're saying, hey, burn the ships. We're in this together. All these folks that are patting us on the back, they weren't there. They weren't there before. Let's focus on what's going on in this locker room, and let's handle business together. And if we go out together, that's fine. But I like our chances, and that's what we're seeing.
So as you well know, CJ, in living in this part of the world, Bama fans are all giddy. Everything's great. It's like the Florida State game never happened. Go over to Athens, win. Ty Simpson looks fantastic, the whole deal. But Barry brought up a key point just a moment ago. I touched on it, but they don't want to hear it. This Alabama cannot run the football. And I've been saying it week in and week out. I think they had 117 yards against Georgia was the most they've had all season long. Nothing great. Georgia had 277, I believe. But Alabama's got to establish the run game, CJ, or that great victory in Athens is going to, be forgotten about because they got a lot of teams, as Barry just mentioned, against the run. Vandy's pretty dadgum good. If the Tide can't run it, they're in trouble.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think as soon as you become one-dimensional, you become vulnerable. And I think to your point, even this weekend, if they want to find a way to victory, they're going to have to become more than just one dimensional. You got to get those linebackers, those apex players, you got to get their eyes moving, right? And if they just know, hey, listen, we're going to be fine in the run. Let's make sure we are collisioning receivers and tight ends that are crossing the field, kind of hold Ty Simpson up for a second. That's going to allow our DNs, our defense line to get home. And so you got to find a way to establish a run up front. And I believe we talked about that last week. End up working out because Georgia made a couple mistakes, coaching wise and on the field, the players as well. But last week we said you got to establish a run. You establish a run, you give yourself a better chance, and it allows the field to open up for Ty. This weekend, we'll see how it goes, but I know Vanderbilt's ready for it. I know that they'll be prepared, and if it's one dimensional, I like Vanderbilt to win this game.
What you mentioned the Alabama-Georgia game, and Georgia made some mistakes. We've talked about those. I couldn't agree with you more. Elsewhere in that game, did anything surprise you at all about that one? The thing that surprised me was I didn't realize fully, CJ, to the extent that it was, that Ty Simpson is a baller.
Yes, I think he was probably the biggest surprise of the game. I think his poise and his confidence. He was playing with a chip on his shoulder the entire game. And I think the other surprise was, Alabama, they may have 3 legit receivers. Ryan Williams may be the second or third best receiver.
Yeah.
And we went into the season saying, he's a Heisman, hopeful, and he's number 2 behind Jeremiah Smith. But hey, listen, I don't know that he's number 1 on his own team. And so I think that kind of Bama coming back is scary to a lot of people. We hadn't seen that since the Judy and Devontae Smith and all those guys. We haven't seen that since then. So to see that kind of come back around is impressive. And you can say that those guys probably won in the game.
Heck, I've heard a lot of people say, CJ, that Alabama's best players might be the 3 that DeBoer brought from Washington: the center, the wide receiver, and the tight end.
Yeah,
those guys are really. These guys are really contributing to that offense. CJ, your thoughts on Auburn, what's happened the last 2 Saturdays, and what you think should be going on during the off week?
You know what? There's a lot of things, right? I think the fundamentals come back into play when you think about Auburn. Blocking and tackling, right? I mean, there's a lot of just truly mistakes and lack of effort, lack of toughness when it comes to blocking and tackling. I believe Jackson Arnold's starting to see ghosts a little bit as well. He's gotten hit so many times. His eyes aren't downfield. They're looking at the line. So he's holding the ball a little longer than he should. I mean, I really think that they should take a note out of Vanderbilt's offense and just kind of be hyper-focused on the quarterback run, right? Base your whole offense off the quarterback run, whether that's RPOs, whether that's, quarterback direct runs like powers and blasts, things like that. But I think he does better once he gets in the rhythm of the offense, where he has a couple runs, he gets hits, he gets hit, and then you're kind of in a 2-minute NASCAR kind of energy around their offense. But if you're just straight drop back, he's struggling a ton, and I don't think that's the way to go for Auburn. He's just, like I said, he's seeing ghosts. He thinks guys are there that aren't there, and then it's too late. Then he's getting sacked again. So I think I put some of the mistakes on the line, but some on Jackson Arnold as well. But defensively, you just got to tackle. You got to wrap up. A lot of arm tackling, a lot of yards after contact, and that's not going to lead to success.
Do you think that the head coaching job at the University of Arkansas is a good, attractive job, CJ?
Well, there's a lot of money in Arkansas. So, I mean, that could help with recruiting between Tyson and the Walton family and Jerry Jones, things like that. That could be enticing. It's an SEC job, and I don't see there being a problem with recruiting there. It could be attractive. I could see that. It's going to take a lot, but then again, it depends on your perspective. Do you want to take the Alabama job after Nick Saban, or do you want to take the Arkansas job where expectations aren't that high? And you win 8 games, and they may build a statue of you. It just depends on how you look at it. Do you want expectations, or do you not? But I don't think there'll be a problem with recruiting. I think they love their football. I think there's some great rivalries there, a lot of history there at Arkansas. I don't see a problem with it.
What about Ole Miss? I've been waiting to see, are they for real defensively? That's always been an issue for them. And man, that starting quarterback, I think he's lost his job.
Yeah, it looks like it. I mean, right now with the rhythm that the offense has and the team has in general, I wouldn't make any changes. I really wouldn't. That's you're taking a huge risk by doing that. And I'm trying not to get too excited about Ole Miss. Ole Miss is always that 10-2 team.
Yeah.
And then they play in a big game or playoff game, and then things don't go well. So I'm gonna reserve all thoughts and feelings and about what they did to LSU, because you know what, the LSU team isn't looking like what I may thought they were before. The Clemson game isn't as big as I may have thought. Clemson's just not a good team this year.
No.
So how big is that first win against Clemson? And Gary Nussmeier has struggled mightily. He's looked very average in these last 2 or 3 games. I do think that LSU still has a pretty elite defense. They just ran into the buzzsaw named Lane Kiffin. But I think the way that Nussmeier is playing right there and the lack of a run game, LSU, this won't be the last game that they probably lose this season.
I got one final question, and it's about a game Saturday night between two teams who in the SEC who I really like their upward trajectory. You may have some family considerations for this one because of Colin, but Mississippi State plays at Texas A&M Saturday night. The trajectory of both of those programs seems to be remarkable right now. Should be a good game, right?
Absolutely. I mean, I was, of course, like you said, for family reasons, I've been keeping up with Mississippi State. I like Mississippi State in this game. I really do. Mississippi State should have beat Tennessee at home. It was a tough game. It could have gone either way, but I like where they're headed. This coach, he asked the fan base and he asked the program and to give him just a couple years. Let me get my guys in here. Let me implement my culture. If you let me do that, I promise you I'll turn this thing around. And my gosh, he did. And it has been absolutely electric. Matter of fact, my brother texted me last night, said, hey, I'm going to the Texas game to go see those guys in person. I've got to see it for myself. So there's a lot of excitement around the program.
Wait a minute. Hold on a second. Give me a couple of years. Let me get my guys in here. You talking about Hugh Freeze? You talking about Mississippi?
I knew he would say that.
Well, some people say it and some people mean it.
Yeah, probably right. CJ Duncan, Yellowhammer News. Going to be a big, big weekend for you. Appreciate the time and the preview.
Yes.
Thanks a bunch.
Yeah, thank you guys. Y'all have a great day.
You too, my man. Man, CJ Duncan, Yellowhammer News. Big game on Saturday. His Vanderbilt Commodores coming into Tuscaloosa. College game day will be there as well. Barry, there's a rumor that the guest picker Saturday for college game day, Lane Kiffin.
Doesn't need to do that.
The Rebels are off this week.
Doesn't need to do that. Why would he do that? You know who it needs to, and I was looking on the message board.
Yeah.
Somebody was saying, look, it'll either be somebody like Joe Namath or somebody who has absolutely nothing to do with Alabama. They've got the one time Alabama played at home and they had a guest picker, ESPN College Game Day, that sorry if you're eating breakfast, I threw up a little bit in my mouth, was when they had Miss Terry there, and I love Miss Terry. I love her.
Yep.
I like Nick.
Sure.
But I think it was a Tennessee game or something like that. And they said, all right, Miss Terry, who's your pick? She looked at Nick. Nick looked at her. They held hands, turned around to the crowd, and they both said in unison, roll tide.
Oh,
I thought I was going to get nauseous.
Man, the fans
choreographed.
They had tears in their eyes.
I know they practiced that, knowing him about 17 or 18 times to get it right.
So Namath has been the guest picker before, and he can do it again. If Joe wants to come back, I'm in.
I'm tired of that stuff. Don't put Namath out there. Don't put, some of the old guard. God.
JT just got back from the Ryder Cup, even though they lost. He won his last match. JT's been on the panel before as the guest picker. The thing about Kiffin, and I'm with you. I mean, besides he coached at Alabama at one time, he and Saban had kind of a prickly relationship, if you will. I think it would be good TV. I think ESPN would love to have Kiffin on that panel with Saban sitting right next to him. But shouldn't he be getting ready for his next game? I don't know. I've just heard that. I think I've read it somewhere. And I'm trying to go back of who else could do it. I mean, do they bring Nate Oates up there? Do they bring, I don't know who they
Does
bring
it
up.
have to be anybody associated with Alabama?
I think that's what that's
why
the
can't
Lane
it be
Kiffin
Nate
thing.
Bargatze, the comedian who's a Vanderbilt fan? Huh? That's what I want to see.
Maybe the College of Interdisciplinary Studies would love to have a representative on that panel. I mean, I'm your guy. I mean, came back, went to school, got my degree, kind of pump it up, let the world know you can come back and get that diploma.
What you won't get is like with a lot of these pickers. I kind of agree with Lee. I say go Wahoos.
Yeah.
The fan. You get John in there. He says, "Let me tell you, Pat. Number one, you get on my nerves. Number two, that 3.5 is a big number. I mean, you talk about a natural for something like that.
Or here's
I'd
what
be
you have,
against
Barry.
it on logic. I'd be against it because first time they get him up here, I ain't never seeing him again because he's going to be on there every
I'd be going,
week.
whoa, fellas, we're picking this game. These two teams suck. I mean, they're not big boys. Don't waste my time with this game. Let's get to the meat and potatoes.
Picking this game is like that ugly girl at the end of the bar. You're doing it strictly from hunger, man.
Yeah, come on. I don't care about this game. Let's get to the big ones out on the board. So, if it falls through ESPN, you need somebody. I wasn't planning on being at the game, but I guess I could squeeze you in.
If you get them on one of those charter flights that they have from Wheels Up.
Wheels Up. Yeah.
Get them a you guys got a skybox up there for you guys? Do you guys have one of those? I wouldn't mind that, that type of thing.
Yeah.
Still to come on the program, Robert Kahn, Phoenix Physical Therapy, will join us. I love it on Wednesdays because two Montgomery High School legends join us in C.J. Duncan and Robert Kahn.
I don't know what CJ's high school number was at St. James. I believe Robert wore number 7 at MA. He was the quarterback there.
More to come in a moment. It's Longshore and McKnight in association with Yellowhammer News, presented by Bud Light.
Hey, folks, how often do you think about your roof? Probably not often at all. I know I didn't until I needed a roof replacement. And I call my friends at Roof Life. Whether it's roof inspections, roof repair, or insurance roof replacement, Roof Life is there for you. They use the highest quality products, top quality craftsmanship, and if you're like me, your roof can be replaced in one day. So if you're in need of a roof inspection, roof repair, or insurance roof replacement, get in touch with my friends at Roof Life today. You can go to roofyourlife.com. That's roofyourlife.com, or dial them up locally at 334-306-6712. That's 334-306-6712.
The Bush Guide, cold and smooth survival skills. For a successful stint in the great outdoors, pack accordingly. Place heavy essentials near your spine for stability in rough terrain, with light items near the bottom. Now, you may be wondering, where does the Bush Light go? In your stomach. Bush. Head for the mountains. Enjoy responsibly. Copyright 2023, Anheuser-Busch, Bush Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Stivers Ford of Montgomery has F-150s over 16 grand off plus 2.9%. And your last chance for a tax credit on Lightnings. 17 grand in savings or 0% or $349 a month with 0 down.
Stivers Ford, where price sells Fords.
Stivers Ford of Montgomery has Broncos under 35 grand. Bronco Sports under 24 grand. Rockies under 29 grand or $299 a month with 0 down. And new Explorers 10 grand off or 2.9%.
Stivers Ford, where price sells Fords.
Back at it in a couple of minutes at the top of the hour. Robert Kahn, Phoenix Physical Therapy, going to join us here. But I know we're going to talk about Tariq Hill for the Dolphins on Monday night. A horrific injury. He's out for might not play again. Quay Russaw at Alabama, foot injury. Probably won't play the rest of the year. Maybe later in the year, postseason. Possibly. We'll see about that. A couple of things that we'll be checking in on with Robert here in just a moment.
Auburn's healthy.
I think so. I believe
they got that going for them.
Yes.
I wanted to throw this out there. This is probably not worthy of conversation. It's not timely. It's not, coming up or anything like this. But the word is out. The SEC's 2026 kickoff media days.
Okay.
July 20th through the 23rd. Long way off. July 20th through the 23rd.
Seems a little late in the month. It's usually around the 15th or 16th. Anyway.
Yeah, that's maybe a week later. At the JW Marriott Tampa Water Street Hotel in Tampa, Florida next summer.
Man, I'm all in. I think that's pretty interesting.
It's been in Atlanta.
Yeah.
It's been in Dallas, but I didn't go to Dallas through things outside of my control. Been to Atlanta before, been to Hoover 70 jillion times. This will be actually, for me, my 35th SEC Media Days.
And Barry, I believe that is the area where they held the, they had the SEC basketball tournament.
Yeah,
I believe that arena's right there.
Yes.
That hotel and that facility.
Can't think of the name of it, but yes.
So yeah, that's kind of neat. I mean, there again, spreading it around, moving it to different parts of the conference. I don't have a problem with it. Tampa kind of surprised me. I had not really thought about Tampa.
We're thinking Orlando. Yeah. We're thinking New Orleans.
That kind of surprises me.
Oh yeah, we have been to Nashville before. That's been another one. So I kind of like it. Again, another thing that within the first week of meeting John back in 1997 and working with him, it's not like he interviewed me or anything, but if he did, it would have been like, okay, Barry, word association here. First thing comes into your head. College football bowls. Okay, no, you're wrong with that. Braves.
Yep.
No, you're wrong with that. Bobby Cox is an idiot. Moving the SEC media days around. You're fine with it in Hoover? I mean, what's the big deal? Are you telling me that? Are those words coming out of your mouth? No, Barry, we got to move it around. The thing that's frustrating about it, and I've always enjoyed working with John, the thing that frustrates me is all of these cockamamie, off-the-wall suggestions that he has end up coming true. Now, see here, Barry, we need 12 teams right now. We need 12 teams. We need to do this. This needs to happen. You need to see this. I'm thinking that ain't never going to happen. Boom. SEC has announced that they are in favor of the college football playoffs submission for a 12-team, and I'm thinking,
I've made some outlandish. Well, I didn't think they were outlandish. I think there were people out there. There were some people out there that thought that they were outlandish, and of course they came to be. I'm not going to go all crazy and say, well, the SEC Media Days is going to go out of the country and have it in the Caribbean one summer. No, that ain't going to happen. I'm not going to go that far. But certainly can see where, they're again spreading it around. I know there were some people that didn't like me harping on the fact that why do we come to Hoover every year? I mean,
yes, I was one of them. Yeah.
The event's outgrown. I know the Birmingham media didn't like to have to actually pack a bag and have to leave town.
Neither did the SEC personnel. They're like, man, we can roll out of the rack and just show up. Why would we move it?
I was thinking, quite honestly, somewhere like Disney World or Jacksonville. Tampa never really entered my mind. But
we talked about the ACC. I think one year the ACC had it at Pinehurst.
Yeah,
something like that. At Hilton Head. All these. So the guys that play golf now. John and I both agree that when the SEC used to have this golf scramble for all of the media members there, we would rather have root canal through our eyeballs than I did that once. It's the worst.
Yeah.
Having it at a smaller venue like that, I'd be okay with Pinehurst or Amelia Island or, Hilton Head, something like that.
I would too. I mean, I know the ACC does it in resort type areas, or they have before. And maybe the SEC doesn't want their event to be kind of overshadowed. Like, hey, we're here to do media days. We're not here to go play golf, and we're not here to go to the beach. I've always wondered why they don't do it in New Orleans. Maybe there's too many distractions.
But then again, last year it was in Atlanta when John and I went last time. Major League Baseball All-Star Game was going on that weekend, and Taylor Swift was right next door at the Mercedes-Benz stadium up there. So yeah. It was overshadowed a pretty good bit.
In Atlanta, I'm done with that. I'm done with that. Atlanta, you can have it. I hope they never go back to Atlanta. If you want my personal opinion,
I'd rather have it in Hoover.
I would not. I'd rather have it in Nashville or Dallas. I'd
rather have it in Hoover rather than Atlanta.
I don't know if well, where are they going to have it? I think they closed the Galleria. Hey, John says Orange Beach. Hey, they had the volleyball tournament down there. Why not?
Yeah,
can do that. They should.
They have. I think they had the Sunbelt women's soccer.
They do.
Yeah, they got several things going on down there.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So I don't know. We'll see how that plays out. That's interesting. Tampa is the location. I understand Robert's got a link. We're just waiting for Robert to link in with us here on the program for our Phoenix Physical Therapy rehab segment. Of course, some terrible injuries. One particularly on Monday night that I still have not seen, Barry, and I understand I probably shouldn't look at it.
No. I've seen a clip of the play itself. I didn't see, they didn't show the aftermath of it when poor Tyreek Hill, his leg looked like the face of a clock at 6:10 in the morning. It was not good.
Was it worse than Joe Theismann's injury?
The worst one I've ever seen, and full disclosure, I had one of those injuries when I was in college.
Did you really? Wow.
I did. That's the reason why I had to leave the University of Florida, but that's a personal deal. But it was bad, and I was in a leg cast for 6 months. So I don't want to watch it. I don't look at it. Theismann's was bad. You knew it was bad when Lawrence Taylor got up and immediately started motioning the training crew to come at it. Theismann's was bad. The worst one I've ever seen was in Troy. Was Troy football at North Texas. We had a receiver who that reminded me of Tyreek Hill. Everything you could possibly tear in his knee, he tore in his knee, but that was 20-something years ago. The other one was Tyrone Prothro, which was a dirty, rotten shame for Prothro because Kerry Goods wasn't that graphic. It was just terrible because he was having the game of his life and blew his knee out. But Prothro, that was nasty. There was a receiver for Southern Miss in the New Orleans Bowl once year against Troy. That ruined his career. So you hate seeing that happen. John brought up the question. I don't know if it's, going to happen, but I think it's a legitimate question. Tyreek Hill may not ever play again because he's a speed guy. I mean, that's what he did. He can run really, really, really fast, and that's why he's in the NFL. I'd be surprised if he can run really fast.
Yeah, and that's just, it is.
Yeah, it's awful.
I've had, luckily, knock on wood, I've never had a knee injury.
Well,
and I hear about all these injuries, from ACL. We talk to Robert about them all the time and whatnot. I've had the shoulder injuries, but I've never had the knee injury, and obviously it can knock you down. There's no doubt.
I have broken both my arms and broken one leg and sprained an ankle badly on the other leg. So I was that guy. I was that athlete. I was a pretty good athlete. I was pretty,
Yep.
I was pretty serviceable young athlete, but I was hurt.
Well, here's a guy that was a really good athlete, Barry. I think I got the number right. I think he wore number 7 in college. I think he wore number 7. Nonetheless, he's Robert Kahn from Phoenix Physical Therapy with our Phoenix Physical Therapy medical segment each and every Wednesday. Did I get the number right, Robert?
12.
12. Man, why was I thinking 7? Man.
Those are the cool numbers. The cool quarterback numbers are 7 and 12.
Well, hey,
the goofy quarterback numbers are 18 and 19.
What about 8?
8 was Steve Young's number. People bogart off of
Troy
Steve
Aikman.
Young and Lamar Jackson,
Archie Manning.
Stuff. Those were the days. I'm telling you.
Who else besides Johnny Unitas wore 19?
What was Manning?
Manning was 18, but he was 16 at Tennessee. 12's a good solid. 12 is the legit quarterback.
Did you wear that because of somebody else that had worn 12?
No, John Tatum just gave us jerseys, and we just took what we got.
Yeah, there was none of this. Hey, Coach, I don't like this number. Too bad. Wear it.
See, in this day and age of NIL, Robert would have been that guy. Like, I ain't coming to your school unless I wear number 2, or I'm not coming to your school until Robert's just saying, hey, give me a jersey, man.
Yeah. They also put a big stack of cleats in the middle of the room and said, go find 2 of your own sizes.
And make sure they're to a left and a right.
Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this. Robert Kahn, of course, with Phoenix Physical Therapy, online, phoenixphysicaltherapy.com, locations throughout central Alabama. Harken back to those golden days of yesteryear, Robert, whenever you were playing competitively in youth football and high school football, and John was, and I was, and everything. Just in terms of protection and all of that, the advances made in football equipment and how important they've been.
Oh, it's crazy. I mean, literally, what we have a mouthpiece and that's it.
Yeah.
You're lucky to get a helmet that was, less than 20 years old, hand-me-downs from all the grades above you. And now you're seeing, even on the high school level, you're seeing specialized helmets. You're seeing the caps that go on the helmets. You're seeing new chin straps that are coming out to absorb impact. All the technology seems to be focused right now on concussions, right? Yeah. And that's why they're coming out with these new absorbent helmets and the chin straps and things like that. Back in the day, the mouthpiece was all you had. And back then, a concussion, if you got your bell rung back then, and coach put you back in 3 plays later.
That's right.
He'd ask you how many fingers you're holding. Yeah. He's holding up, and if you guessed right, back in.
Yeah.
No, they're smelling
nowadays, the shoulder pads are smaller than they've ever been. They don't wear knee pads. I mean, they're literally wearing biker shorts on the football field, it seems like.
Yeah. Some of them look even shorter than that. I've noticed that a lot this year. I know we didn't say we were going to talk about this, but it just hit my mind when we were talking about equipment and whatnot. I don't know if you saw it in the Alabama-Georgia game, Robert, but they were talking about Jam Miller coming back from the shoulder injury, and they talked about a special contoured, molded padding that they put on underneath his shoulder pad for extra protection and support. I'd never seen anything like that before.
Yeah, we actually do that a lot, for these rare type injuries, and even for an AC joint or something like that is very, very common. We can custom make padding, and you can really custom make it with some soft padding to go against the body and then a hard outer shell. So it's like having an extra layer of protection for whatever bony part you're talking about, whether it's collarbone, whether it's AC joint, something like that. We've been doing that for a long time because, the off-the-shelf pads don't really fit well. They move around too much. But when you can custom mold something for somebody It fits right to their skin, right where it needs to be, molded perfectly, and doesn't move around to allow them that extra protection. I did see that. And like I said, the sternoclavicular joint that he had was such a different type injury. We've done very few of those in the past. Most likely we do them for AC joints a lot. Goes under the shoulder pads, but it just gives you that extra hard layer cushion to the skin to absorb impact.
Am I missing something? Do we not see quarterbacks wearing flak jackets anymore? The big old Dan Fouts model and stuff like that. And if not, why not?
Yeah, some still do. It's not literally as big as it was back in the day. They'd make you look like you had gained 30 pounds.
No kidding.
Yeah.
And again, now they've just become more specialized. They've become more fitting padding into the tight shirts that people put on. They're not an external wrap around. Now you can still see it. We still do them in high school fairly often. Somebody gets a rib cage injury. You can buy the flak jacket that attaches to the shoulder pads and straps around in the front. Got, again, a cushion on the inside against the body and an outer hard shell. The ones that are really just maintenance wise are more of the shirts that have the extra padding in it. But when we do have those rib cage injuries, it's very, very common to use that extra padding.
So Quay Russaw, you're familiar with him, a Montgomery product at Alabama, injured his foot in Athens Saturday night. They're saying he's going to be out for a substantial amount of time. In your judgment, Robert, is that the entire season, or could he possibly come back toward the end of the regular season or possibly postseason?
We talk about this all the time. They never give you any detail, right? Broken foot. That could be several different things. Most likely it's what's called a Jones fracture, which is a fifth metatarsal fracture. The fifth bone on the middle of the foot towards the outside of the foot is a very, very fragile bone. It's also a bone that doesn't heal up really well because of circulation and blood supply. So the common practice in athletics and sports and sometimes in just day-to-day activity is to go in there and they put a screw in there. It allows the bone to come together nicely and heal up nicely in a quicker, more effective way. That's most likely, again, I don't know, but most likely that's probably what he had. If that's the case, I've seen them come back in 6 weeks, 7 weeks, and they're just not ready. There is a high risk of re-injury when you do this bone, when you have this bone fractured like that it could re-break if you come back too quickly. I don't know if you remember Reuben Foster. I think it was his last year at Alabama. He had a Jones fracture mid-season. He came back for the Auburn game, and he looked 3 steps slower than he typically did.
Right.
So he came back soon. He came back quicker, but he just was not very effective at all. So it's kind of a balance between how do we get Quay Russaw back on the field? How do we get him back on the field safely so we're not overly risking a re-injury and a re-break? But also, can he function in a way to where he is better than his backup 2 folks that are pretty good?
No kidding.
So, I want to put my best product out on the field, but also taking care of and being safe. My guess, and again, just my guess, I would think he's probably out through the regular season and would have a really good chance if Alabama's fortunate enough to make the playoffs to come back to the playoffs.
Is it a healing or a rehab or both?
It's more of a healing. So it's more of because of the type of bone it is, there is a greater risk for a re-injury.
Yeah.
So once you put a screw in that thing, it's pretty stable walking around. He's probably weight bearing at this time. He's probably started some rehab. So it's not really the rehab. He'll be ready to go. It just depends on how functional he is and what type of risk they want to take with a re-injury type. These things are so common. Julio Jones had one. You hear about them all the time in sports. They wear these cleats now that are so small. And anytime you get a cut type injury or even somebody steps on your foot and you cut, that fifth metatarsal is just an easy and very susceptible bone to fracture.
So, theoretically, could he get out there? Yeah, he probably could. Could he be effective, or could he be able to move around enough to protect himself against blood? Probably not.
Yeah.
And that's, I guess they could ask you guys your opinion on that, but, it's not, they're going to ask Robert Kahn, hey, should we start the backup instead of Russaw? Yeah, go ahead and start the
right.
backup.
I think,
that's their job.
Auburn game is probably in the picture. What is that, 10 weeks or so?
Yeah.
I think it's 8, I think.
8 weeks. So, I mean, I think you're pushing the envelope at that time. There's a little bit of risk for a re-injury, and how functional is he at that point? They'll kind of make that decision as they go along.
We talked about this as well in the Monday night game. Tyreek Hill for the Dolphins. It's one of those we named a couple off the top of our heads the show after that, where it's just a catastrophic thing where it looked like every possible ligament, tendon, vessel, cartilage that you can tear got torn for Tyreek Hill. I'm sure you've seen those with your own two eyes.
We've seen those. I wouldn't say often, but I would probably say 10 to 15 times in my career. It's, and you hear knee dislocation, and sometimes people confuse that with a patella dislocation. This is much different than your kneecap dislocating off to the side. So this was a complete knee dislocation. When you look at it, the knee pulls inside. So he's got what's called an LCL injury. The ACL and PCL are probably both gone as well. You think about an MCL potentially, but when you look at the way the knee was bent, look, this is a medical emergency type situation, right? This is not sit on the sidelines, we'll evaluate it after the game. There are two things that are highly involved here when you have the knee dislocation. That is circulation, like you mentioned, Barry, the artery that goes down behind the knee. If that artery were to rupture, you're talking about potentially life-threatening, losing your leg, or potentially life-threatening bleeding out. You've also got a nerve that runs down the outside of the leg. It's your peroneal nerve. When his leg bends inside that much, high risk of nerve injury there, whether you're stretching the nerve out too much or tearing the nerve. And that nerve is what functions to move some of your lower leg. Most effectively, your foot pulling back up with what we call drop foot. And so a lot of times with a knee dislocation like this that involves a nerve type injury, you develop a risk of drop foot, and that may not ever come back. So, everybody's talking about Tyreek Hill. He'll be back next year. I don't think anybody knows the detail of what happened. If it's just ligamentous and they're going in there repairing the 2-3 ligaments, great. He probably has a chance to come back and play. But if he's got nerve damage, you're talking about a much, much different situation.
Also, Robert, I believe Tyrone Prothro, when he had that severe injury, there was an issue. Maybe was there an open wound and something had gotten into that wound? Obviously, you got to be careful about that as well in a situation like Tyreek Hill.
For sure, yeah. And Tyrone Prothro developed a terrible infection in his knee because of the open wound. That was a tib fib fracture, which we saw a tib fib fracture in the Arkansas game. I don't know if y'all saw the wide receiver for the Arkansas Razorbacks. Terrible injury. One of those things that you don't put back on slow motion. Tib fib or the lower two leg, the tibia and the fibula. And it's when it breaks mid shaft. So it's not near the ankle. It's not near the knee. It's right in the middle. And it turns 90 degrees the wrong way. Well, Tyrone Prothro had that injury, but his came through the skin into the dirt onto the field. That's where a lot of the infection started.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. I remember that.
Brutal.
So what do you do? So just put your perspective into the mind of an athletic trainer.
Yeah.
Coming out on the field, what do you do? What are the priorities there?
When you see that type of injury again, it's an immediate medical emergency. You're getting the leg stabilized. You're using splints. Then you're loading in the ER, loading in the ambulance, and you are going to the hospital as quickly as you can. Very, very painful injury. Very, very serious type injury, and something that needs medical attention very, very quickly.
And that the second you get to that player, what level you're at in terms of seriousness.
Yeah, if you've ever seen one, you don't forget it. I mean, It's one of those things to where, not to be graphic, but the leg's going in the wrong direction.
Yeah, right.
You know right away what you're dealing with.
I'm thinking back of all the times that we've discussed medical injuries and whatnot on athletic fields. Your son-in-law had a bad knee or leg injury, if I'm not mistaken. You've told us the story, but he spent all year getting back and ended up getting back on the field.
He had a Tyreek Hill injury. He had a complete knee dislocation, tore ACL, PCL, MCL, LCL, tore his peroneal nerve. He has significant nerve damage, still has drop foot, still can't move his foot. He rehabbed for 10 straight months, braced his ankle, braced his knee, came back, and he was an all-Metro defensive end his senior year after that type of injury. So very, very serious injury. He tore just about everything you could tear in your knee besides your patella tendon, broke his femur in 2 places, had a hamstring avulsion. It was the worst injury I had seen in my career in 27 years for sure.
It happened in a game?
Happened in the first playoff game. They were at home in first playoff game. He was a wide receiver. He's a big wide receiver, and he cut. And at the same time he cut, about a 250-pound linebacker jumped on his back.
Ooh.
And just the increased weight on top of that knee, the knee just totally buckled and went the wrong way, and it was brutal from then on.
Well, let me ask you about this, not changing the subject entirely, but when we reference you in Phoenix Physical Therapy, we as my reference, a lot of times we go to your very excellent website, which is phoenixphysicaltherapy.com, with a list of locations. There are locations all over the place. In Alabama, you mentioned, I'm looking right now at the Alabama. There's one now open in Alabaster, Alex City, Auburn, Greenville, several in Montgomery, Prattville, Selma, Troy, Wetumpka. Robert, there's one that is listed with a link, and I haven't clicked the link yet, and I've been meaning to ask you, but it's Industrial Specialty.
Yeah.
Montgomery. What is that?
So it's actually, it's not a separate location. It's within our Montgomery office, and we really specialize in return to work type activities for anybody who's injured on the job. So,
a lot of our viewers and listeners.
Absolutely. So when you think about it, these workers, these injured workers are just like our injured athletes, right? Sure. When the quarterback gets injured, the coach wants them rehab. They want them back on the field for Friday night. When these workers that do very, very strenuous jobs get injured on the job, the employer needs them back to do their job, whether it's repetitive lifting of 50 pounds, whether it's, walking, whether it's up and down stairs, whether it's overhead activities. So what our industrial specialty clinic does, and we've got a detailed list of people that have been doing this a long, long time,
of course,
that specialize in return to work activities. What we do, if you've had a rotator cuff injury, if you've had a back injury, you may be feeling better, right? You may feel like I'm ready to go back to work, but how do you know? Have you lifted 50 pounds 100 times? Have you squatted 100 times in 30 minutes? So we simulate work activity in our office. Everything from shoveling sand to lifting overhead to repetitive walking to repetitive climbing, squatting. So we're putting these injured workers through a specific plan catered to them for what they do on the job every day. And what we're doing there is we're making sure, one, they're pain-free, but two, they're functional. Like we talked about with Quay Russaw. Yeah. We want to make sure Russaw is functional to get back on the field so he can do a good job safely. We want to make sure our injured workers are feeling better and fully functional to get back to their job safely.
So when we talk about, John, is a older active athlete, so am I, so are you and everything like that. And we talk about this in a sports vein. I would imagine a large percentage of what you do is exactly tremendously applicable to our viewers and listeners as well. That has nothing to do with being on the field of play or being able to make a turn in your golf swing and things of that nature.
Physical therapy has completely evolved over time. And it, a lot of people don't understand what we do completely. A lot of people think, I'm going to go in and get a massage, or I'm going to go and stretch my hamstrings, or I'm going to go in and do this. We are all about function, right? Sure, we want you pain-free. We want you to have full range of motion. We want your strength to return. But to us, the ultimate goal is to get you back to doing what you want to do. And that could be playing with my grandkids. That could be working for the city of Montgomery. That can be playing sports and playing quarterback or running back or wide receiver or volleyball or soccer. Our physical therapists are focused on one thing, and that is returning you to a functional lifestyle, pain-free and ready to go.
For more information, I'm sure they can go to that website Barry just referenced, Robert. A ton of information, all the locations, the numbers, the addresses. It's a great resource for our viewers and listeners to go check out if they're, again, injured on the job, injured in a sporting event, have a child that is injured. There's so many options and so many ways that you rehab people, from athletes to employees, to get them back in the game.
Absolutely. Appreciate the time, guys. As always, it's always fun.
Absolutely.
It is.
Robert Kahn, Phoenix Physical Therapy, phoenixphysicaltherapy.com is how you find out more about how we talk with him. We've talked with him hundreds of times down through the years. So much more on the website, phoenixphysicaltherapy.com.
Yep. Great information. Really enjoyed each and every week. Our friends at Phoenix Physical Therapy with locations throughout the river region and beyond, throughout Alabama, growing. And need any information? That website, what's that web address again, Barry, that you mentioned there that our listeners and viewers can go check out?
phoenixphysicaltherapy.com.
Easy.
All the information you need right there. Well, when we come back,
I think the Phantom needs some therapy, but Phoenix doesn't offer that type.
No, he needs some mental support. The Phantom is next. A little bit later on. Josh Harris, the Moneyline Magician, coming up with Longshore and McKnight.
Why Hands? At Hands Heating and Air, you get this area's highest ranked service provider with 24-hour repair service, no overtime charges, and their same-day service guarantee. Plus, instead of other companies' 30-day repair warranty, Hands gives you a 3-year repair warranty. Hands Heating and Air is here for you 24/7, 365. And service is not just something they do, it's their way of operating, for you in mind. All of Hands employees are trained to adhere to this standard. They work hard to ensure that this standard is maintained, and they are constantly looking for new ways to better serve you. Call Hands Heating and Air today at 508-5382. That's 508-5382, or find them on the web at 834hands.com.
On the basketball court, the soccer pitch, or even the golf course, your crew brings their best not just for the win, but for that post-game celebration. When victory tastes like Michelob Ultra, it's worth every drop of sweat. And if you don't win, you'll still get the beer. It's just on you. Superior is worth playing for. Michelob Ultra, 2.6 carbs, 95 calories. Superior light beer. Enjoy responsibly. Copyright 2025, Anheuser-Busch Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It's here. Victoryland Casino's Corvette 25K giveaway. The more you visit, the more chances you have to win. Drive away in a Corvette or win your share of $25,000 in free play and cash. Visit our Players Club and check out this month's exciting free play promotions. You'll have more fun at Victoryland Casino, where you can be a winner too. Victoryland Casino off I-85 exit 22 in Shorter, Alabama. Drawings October 3rd and 4th. Must be 21 or older. Must be present to win.
Okay, back at it, everybody. Glad you are with us here on this first day of October. How about that? October 1st, man, the calendar's just zipping.
And we are already, I've double-checked, we are already into now week 6 of the college football schedule. This upcoming week, it begins tomorrow.
Yep.
The Phantom can't wait for something. Tomorrow, Sam Houston at New Mexico State, 8 o'clock, CBS Sports Network tomorrow. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games on Friday.
Yeah.
Anything great on Saturday? I don't think so. The first game Saturday, of course, is going to be, well, one of them is Kentucky, Georgia.
Yep.
At 11. The last game is at 9:30, Nevada at Fresno State. Now,
Now, Barry, you mentioned tomorrow, you forgot to mention tomorrow, 49ers at Rams on Prime Video tomorrow from SoFi. That could be one that it could be, that could pique my interest. I can tell you, Sam Houston State is not.
If I'm the Phantom, I just may stay away from any sports entities in the state of California, to be honest. So he may take a pass on that 49ers game just because California, I don't know, the fan's a big fan of California.
Well, certain parts.
Yeah.
I am. There's certain parts of California that I enjoy. It's been San Francisco's a beautiful area, but it's been a long time since I've been out there. I have no desire to go there. LA, too big, crazy, and it's a jungle. But other parts of California are
San Diego, beautiful.
San Diego is a beautiful city. It is.
Now, they don't know how to cover a baseball game, but San Diego, great
That's
town.
a great lead in, Barry. You're right. We jumped out to a 1-0 lead yesterday in the top of the second. We're thinking, okay, yeah, not bad. But then the Cubs took care of business. But you know what, Barry? We're not going to let that deter us. We're not going to take that loss yesterday and have our lip poked out and take our ball and go home. You know why?
Why?
We're going right back to Wrigley Field again today.
What?
Wait, first pitch. Cease is on the mound he is going to cease the Cubs from winning today.
Yeah.
Kittredge, I believe, is who's on the mound for the Cubbies. The Padres, even on the road against Chicago, 2:08 first pitch. Yes.
Boom.
Going back to the well once again, taking the Padres today against the Chicago Cubs. Check that start time. 2:08 is the first pitch.
Yeah, it was the second game of the day yesterday. It'll be the second game of the day today. Going to be on ABC, so check that out. The Phantom has issued his. When we come back, catch up just a little bit. And then our Moneyline magician, Josh Harris, has broken into somebody's vehicle so we can have a nice place to sit and do his bit coming up. In just a moment, it's Longshore and McKnight in association with Yellowhammer News, presented by Bud Light.
It's the Drive into Fall event at Stivers. Rams 21 grand off or 13 grand off plus 0% for 60 months. Heavy duty Rams $9,500 off plus 0% for 60 months.
Stivers, Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, where Price sells new cars and trucks in Prattville.
It's the Drive into Fall event at Stivers. Gladiators 10 grand off. Wranglers 12 grand off. And 3-row Grand Cherokees 13 grand off or 0% for 60 months.
Stivers, Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, where Price sells new cars and trucks in Prattville.
Summer's here, and so too are its many challenges. Heat that won't quit, beers that won't fit, hammocks that won't hammock, screen doors that appear out of nowhere, flips that flop a little too much. That's why it's important to keep it simple. Keep it cool, keep them coming, and keep it easy. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Bud Light.
All guests of Longshore McKnight appear on the City of Montgomery guest hotline. Check out the most interesting and informed personalities in sports covering Auburn, Alabama, Troy, ASU, and all the major teams from across the country. John and Barry have the best guests brought to you by the City of Montgomery. To find out everything you need to know that is going on in the capital city, check out montgomeryal.gov. That's montgomeryal.gov, the capital of dreams.
Okay, here we are back at it. Our man Josh Harris, the money line magician. The great thing, one of the great things about Josh, you never know where he's going to be.
Yeah,
he joins us each and every week. Last week, north of the border in Canada, I believe. Where are you today, Josh?
Denver, Colorado. By the airport.
Man.
Another place where people don't really care about college football. So I'm walking around in my Alabama pullover, just expecting everybody to tell me good game on the Tide. Walk in to a couple meetings. I'm like, y'all see that game? Trying to get some small talk started. They're like, what game? I'm like, the Tide.
What is this Tide you're talking about?
What do you mean, you redneck?
Yeah.
Oh, man. You're from Alabama. Boy, Bo Nix has been playing really good for us.
Great. Yeah, big Bronco fans. No doubt. Yeah, I'm not even sure Colorado with Dion is that big of a deal out there.
I'll bite on this. What did you think about the game
on
Saturday night? Alabama never trailed in Athens. Do you know that Kirby is in a Saturday night in a fetal position in the corner of his bedroom, just rocking back and forth? It's in his head, Josh. Am I right?
It was a top five Alabama game for me of my life.
That is saying something.
It was the first time since I was maybe in middle school that people felt, bad for us, right? They weren't scared of us. I wouldn't say they felt bad for us, but nobody was scared. People they weren't even worried. They were thinking they were going to come in and just pounce us. And I mean, we owned them. I mean, it was close, and you can say Kirby made some coaching decisions that were questionable, but I think just from an overall game plan, he was outcoached. To take away the bad call that he made on the 4th down to go for it, et cetera, he was outcoached every piece of the game. And to that point, I can't believe I'm saying it. I want to write an apology letter, right, to DeBoer. Yeah.
Well, maybe a congratulatory letter to Ryan Grubb, because I thought he called
he was
fabulous
amazing
game.
I mean, it was a beautiful game. I mean, it was beautiful. I mean, you can pick on the run game a little bit.
Yeah, I was going to get to that.
And I think we do need to get that going. The biggest difference I saw was DeBoer went from looking confused and out of place on the sideline to jumping up and down, even when there were bad plays, keeping the team motivated. That was the biggest change I saw, was that there was a bad play, and instead of sitting there like this, he was jumping up and down saying, that's all right, we'll get them. Like, let's get back. Let's recap. Let's get back in the game. Right. So I thought that was a big piece of it. And it was just, it was close, but also felt a little dominant at the same time.
Well, the only things that I saw that were not encouraging. Number one, I saw the biggest duck hook I've seen since one of my tee shots at Saugahatchee.
Yeah.
On that, when the kid kicks one right between the uprights on the Pat McAfee kicking challenge on College game day, and your scholarship place kicker puts one in, Hayhira or someplace. Woo, that was not good. And I didn't like Alabama's 4th down call either, where, I don't know, Simpson ran into a up back or something. He turned it to hand it away to somebody, and there was nobody there. And other than that, pretty good.
Right. There were some miscues from that standpoint. Obviously, that was not the play call, was for Simpson to fake a bad handoff and slam into the right tackle. But it was the Caden Proctor play was, if there's not a painting of that, then I'm going to have to make something. I mean, I want that picture. That as a offensive lineman that never got to touch the ball. That wasn't just a pass. That wasn't a handoff to the big guy up the middle. That was go out there and play like an athlete. That's a dream for an offensive lineman.
So you're thinking Daniel Moore needs to get in the room and start sketching some stuff up?
I'm if he doesn't, I might have to. I probably need to GoFundMe for it, but get him to make a custom one for me. I mean,
if he did, he'd have to have really good detail, because I suspect that if he goes into the background while he's rumbling down the field, all the fans in the stands are going. all the loose water is falling out of the shower heads in the locker room and everything like that. That wasn't just a pass, like you said. That was a victory for every offensive lineman who's ever played, and the dreams he ever had in his wildest incarnation. It was incredible. I mean, who does that? You do that when you're up 35 and you want to give the guy a little something, but that was a big part of the game, Josh.
I don't see anybody talking about him warming up with his cell phone this week.
No. You think we'll see that again? Is that a one-shot deal?
No, I think people are listening to music while they're warming up. I don't think it's that big of a deal in retrospect.
I'm talking about the play. Do you think we'll see that play again?
Maybe. I think we got to use him. I mean, he's an athlete, right? And not only that play, if you go and watch the part of the game, a lot of the screen passes are just where he's getting downfield blocking. He's moving downfield. He's getting downfield, laying blocks on the cornerback, the safety, and he's a left tackle. That guy can move. I mean, I think we got to use him more He's an athlete.
So you mentioned this, and years ago I got in trouble with this on John and my show back in the Curry. Well, this is after Curry. Back in the Dubose years and stuff. And I said, people didn't really, it ain't like a big deal to play Alabama anymore. Oh, people weren't scared. People weren't intimidated, whatever. But now, I mean, do you encourage Bama fans to go full Bama fan and we're back? These next few games are an amusing little hurdle for us on our way to our 19th, John? 19th national championship. Yeah. I mean, are we full bore smug Alabama fan after that performance?
Not yet. I think we're more of I told you so, you idiot. Don't ever count us out, especially
I've heard that before.
Bulldogs.
Yeah.
Like, what are you thinking? It was the first. I live in Atlanta when very few days out of the week it feels like now. But I never got the Georgia hate until it finally clicked this year. And so this was I mean, I can't stand Georgia fans. They're
I'm with you.
They're at least Auburn knows, and they're not delusional. They know.
Oh,
what do they know?
What
they know? They know. Maybe not some of the crazies, but as overall, they know their
place.
But
they know their place.
I'm just saying, Josh, in our line of business, this past weekend was a bad weekend because John's theory has always been that the talk show business here is always so much better when Alabama's good, but Auburn is good as well. Last weekend, Alabama was good and Auburn was not. So, you can't, we're not like Vegas. You can't play both sides against the middle here. They've got to do something on their own. Auburn. Were you shocked about that? Just how inept they looked?
Yes, it was a little shocking. I mean, they looked good on the road against Oklahoma. They looked solid, but they looked horrendous. But I get it. I mean, it's week to week. I'm not going to sit here and say they're done, they're awful, but it's week to week here. You don't know what team's going to come out, and I think that's for every team, right? It's like you can't harp on Florida State because we came out and beat Georgia, right? You can't harp on the games, you can't harp on Georgia because we have a game against Vandy this week. I think everybody's dangerous from the top to bottom. So I was shocked that they just couldn't move the ball. I mean, I just didn't see that coming.
Auburn's I don't think a lot of people did.
Auburn's got the week off. Is it odd? Does it feel weird to you to sit there and feel like you need to bite your fingernails over the Vandy game?
It is a crazy world we live in.
Truer words have never been spoken on this radio, on the television program.
I mean, I'm nervous, like legit.
What?
Yeah, I mean, it's you watch.
Well, let me ask you this, John. I think this is one of the reasons why you got to be nervous. We just touched on it earlier in this segment. Vanderbilt's averaging around 50 points a game. They're beating everybody they played by 20. So it's not a fluke. They're not just kicking a field goal at the end of the game and eking one out. They're dominant against everybody they played. And the main point to me, Bama can't run the ball. I know they had 117 yards or whatnot against Georgia, the most they've had this season, but they have got to run the ball more efficiently. They got to stop the run a little bit better. Georgia was 270 or something. I think Alabama's biggest concern is getting that running game going because teams are going to look at them and go, this team can't run. We'll just, we're going to protect the pass all game.
And stopping a dual threat quarterback, I feel like we hadn't dominated a dual threat quarterback in 10 years.
Yep.
Right. It's always been our kryptonite. And I feel like that is for everybody, right? Dual threat quarterbacks can be very hit or miss. Last year, Pavia played one of the most flawless games I've ever seen by a quarterback against us. We'll see if he can do that again. I mean, last year was so tough because he had three options. He can keep it, run it, or pass it. He picked the right option every single time. He made the right pass. He made a good pass every single time. So let's see if he can do that again. I mean, if he can, it was almost impossible to stop. but it was also quarterbacks don't play flawless games like that. I mean, that was remarkable. So that's why it's a little nerve-wracking is they've got the same guys last year. I do think our team we're not going to overlook Vandy by any stretch of the imagination, right? We've got some redemption that we need from last year, but also they're better than they were last year. They
are
be better than they were last year. So this is a real game. I mean, people are complaining that game day's there and Saban and SEC bias and blah, 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 blah.
Greg
blah.
McElroy's doing the color on the television broadcast.
But it is a big game. I mean, people, it's a big game. So
no doubt.
It honestly can change the landscape of the entire conference. Vandy wins, and I mean, do you start having conversations? They're the best team in the SEC if they win this week.
I mean, think about it, but
I'm just saying, you can at least have the conversation. It's insane.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing. I've said this before. People ask me who I was rooting for on Saturday. Look, I've gained kind of a reputation as not being an Alabama fan at all. But, man, if Georgia's playing, I'm rooting against Georgia. So this is not rooted in any kind of a stereotype or anything like that. But Bama fans, I've watched them through the years. I've observed their ways, how they react in families and stuff like that and in groups. When Tennessee is good, Bama fan can't stand it. Can't stand it.
Don't like that.
When Georgia's good, they don't necessarily like it. When Auburn is good, Bama fan hates it. I think everybody kind of likes Vanderbilt being good, right? I mean, all right, Vanderbilt. John would ruffle their hair collectively, and good for you.
Right. I mean, it is. I mean, you feel that way until they keep it going, right? You're everyone's pulling for Vanderbilt. You're right. It's the only team that everybody pulls for, right? It's like little brother syndrome, patronizing to the max. And I bet I caught a little bit about what CJ was saying earlier. Yeah. They don't let themselves get patronized. It sounded like they were saying they're like those fans that are all patting you on the back now, like you said, rubbing your head, telling you good. They weren't there. So this is us versus the world. And I think it's a good mentality to have.
Couldn't agree more.
Especially in this day and time with NIL. I don't even know how they do it with the amount of money that they don't have nearly as much, I would imagine, as anybody else.
It's a different day and age. I mean, back, when you played Vanderbilt, you said, well, we can ease on out midway through the third quarter. We got some other things we got to get done on this Saturday. Not anymore. You got to hang around for the whole game.
Oh, yeah. It was like we were talking about that wedding that's on it's during football season. And we were thinking, it's just the South Carolina game. We don't even need to worry about it. Well, maybe you do this year. It's still South Carolina doesn't look great, but every game is nerve-wracking, and that's the positives of this NIL, right? Is that everybody has the opportunity to be good. As an Alabama fan, I hate it because we were dominant. As a college football fan, I love it because every Saturday is now amazing. There's no more big Saturdays.
Yes, and the networks love it too. That's what they want. All right, Josh, in Denver, the Mile High City, no telling where you might be next week when we have you on the program. It's kind of like, where's Waldo? Man, it's awesome.
Yeah, it's next week I will be in Atlanta. So it should be
there we go.
For now, I'll be on the home front.
Outstanding.
That'll be good.
Always appreciate you, Josh. Thanks a bunch.
Have a good one.
You too, buddy. The Moneyline Magician, Josh Harris, giving us his thoughts today about last week and the upcoming week. He's right, Vanderbilt. Everybody loves Vanderbilt.
Everybody's like, good for them. Good for them. That's like John on the first tee. They got three guys out there, and they need the last before something. Here comes this 14-year-old kid, and John's like, all right, this is all right. This will be okay. Not going to get any action from him, but, this 14, he'll fill it out. He knows how to play. He knows to play quick and don't plumb bob everything. And then All right. Hey, buddy, how you doing, man? Hope you have a good time today with us. Let us know if you need anything. Okay, let's go
you
play some
mentioned
golf.
that, Barry.
And then he stripes the first tee shot. You're like, oh,
that actually
okay.
happened.
Well, good.
I'm playing in a serious kind of an invitational type golf tournament years ago. I'm moseying on down to the first tee, and I look at the head pro. I said, "Who's this kid on the tee box over here?" He said, "That's who you're playing with today." He, had two other guys. We had to force him. Okay. I said, "This 14-year-old kid's playing with us?" He said, "Yeah." Thinking, gee whiz. I mean, you gotta be kidding me.
And that's like Vanderbilt. You're like, oh man, we got Vandy on the schedule. And all of a sudden the kid stripes one out there, and you're like, holy.
Yep.
Smokes.
Not only did he stripe it down there, I think he shot 2 under. Talking about Matthew Swan from Montgomery.
You come about, the 12th hole, and he is wearing you out. It ain't funny anymore. It ain't like, how about this kid? Good for him. And it's like, holy.
He got to the 12th hole. I think he looked at me and said, Mr. Longshore, I think you're away. And I was like, you little smart aleck.
This is Vanderbilt. You're like, good for them. All right. How about that? They won that game. Good. They beat Ole Miss. Excellent. Oh, they beat the Ups. How about that? Then all of a sudden, you have to wear a loss from us. Like, son of.
Yeah.
All right. This is bad enough of this.
Yeah.
So.
I do have another quick golf story before we go to break. Kind of the opposite direction. I was with some of my buddies. We were down playing golf. Down around the Destin area, and the starter came up to us and said, hey, I see you guys only have 3 in your group. Do you mind if Bob here joins you and plays? And one of the guys in the group went, yeah, Bob, you can't join us. We're not going to let you play with us today. We've already got our bets made and whatnot. And Bob kind of looked like, a shoulder shrug. His chin went down to his chest like he's smelling himself going, what's wrong with me? And I couldn't believe one of my friends actually said that.
Everybody
right in front of his face.
Everybody has always wanted to do that. You're like, yeah, sure. Hey, come on. Yeah, more's the merrier. And finally the guy says, no.
Bob,
sorry.
You got to go find somebody else to play with.
Right. You not with us. No. When we come back, it's our Gurn Jr. Victoryland 777 topic wheel. Hopefully, it's Longshore and McKnight in association with Yellowhammer News, presented by Bud Light.
You're not buying sticks, stems, and pine cones. You're buying premium long-diddle pine straw from River Region Straw. Kenny and his staff have access to the best pine straw in the River Region, full of color that will last all season long. Kenny has locations in Montgomery, Prattville, and Auburn. And no order is too big or too small, from a few bales to an 18-wheeler trailer load. Pickup is available, or your order can be delivered. They can even spread your pine straw if you like. So call or text Kenny today, 669-5959. That's 669-5959 for all of your pine straw needs. Known by avid golfers as one of the most beautiful and challenging stops on the Robert Trent Jones Golf Trail, Cambrian Ridge in Greenville lies just 40 miles from Montgomery. It is well worth the ride for any golfer looking for 27 holes of jaw-dropping golf. The greens have been redesigned to accommodate the higher green speeds associated with their installation of the latest generation of ultra-dwarf Bermuda grass. Cambrian Ridge offers a fully stocked pro shop with all the latest equipment and apparel. Great food and beverages in the clubhouse can be enjoyed both before and after your round. Get your group together and hit the trail. Go to rtjgolf.com/Cambrian Ridge for tee times and more information. Okay, about 6 minutes to the top of the hour. Robbie is up. Good morning, Robbie. Thanks for joining us today. We appreciate that.
Yeah.
Our Gurn Jr. Victoryland 777 topic wheel is loosening up, ready to go. Victoryland 777 Casino, exit 22 off I-85 in Shorter, Alabama. Let's spin the topic wheel and see what comes up.
Literally, we have to see what comes up because we've got no idea. This is Hot Start.
Hot Start.
Hot Start. Oh yeah. I watched a good bit of that game last night. Dodgers Reds. It was the late game. He hit one in the first inning. Yeah, the 2-run shot in the 6th was incredible. It was like 118 miles off the bat. It almost left the ballpark. And I always think about this. And Dodgers win. They got off to a big lead. They win, I think, 10-6 the final score in that one. The second one was as long a home run as I've seen hit all year. But do you ever think about the pitcher? Because they show the replay. Well, here it is, and the pitcher's throwing it, full of hope. Everything throws it, and Ohtani hits it about 490 feet.
Yeah.
And the pitcher's, he's looking down at his feet. He's pawing the ground and everything. He looks at the catcher, holds his glove up, and
why didn't he look at the guy that just hit it? Because if I'm the guy hitting it, I'm letting that pitcher know, hey, it's going to be like this all night.
Well,
just get ready.
See, after that, the next hitter was Mookie Betts, I think.
Uh-huh.
And I thought of you on the next hitter because it was about 3 pitches into the at-bat, and he threw a cutter that got away from him right under his chin. Mookie hits the deck, and all the fans are bowing up, and all the Dodgers are bowing up, and the guy's saying, look, if I knew where the ball was going, I wouldn't have thrown that pitch to Ohtani, okay? I didn't mean to do that.
Sure.
But John would have been like, John wouldn't have waited till the 3rd or 4th pitch. That would have been the next pitch.
Yeah.
You want to do that to me, I can do this. So,
That's right.
Big one. Hot start for the Dodgers.
That was a good one. Yeah, that was a good start. Got to get off on a good note. San Diego, you might need to remember that this afternoon.
Hint.
Loud mouth.
Nobody take this personally.
Yeah,
okay, loudmouth. Who's the loudmouth? Oh, this is not even a story. Jets coach Aaron Glenn reportedly yelled at the team so loud you could actually hear him outside the locker room. They did not play very well. 13 penalties. That's bad.
That's not good. No.
But
I was yelling too, Coach. Hey, I'm with you.
But is this even a story? I mean, have you been in? Well, JD, back when you played, didn't lose very much.
No, we didn't.
But
I still got yelled at, though.
Yeah. I mean, they got yelled out loud. You could hear it in the outside the locker room. Of course you could. That happens all the time, John. I remember the stories about an Alabama A-Day game at halftime when Kirby Smart was on the staff and my co-host was an honorary coach. This is at halftime of the spring game. And I guarantee you could hear Kirby yelling at his defense. That's no story. Oh, Jets coach yelled at his team really loud. So what?
Yeah, the paint was peeling off the walls. Yeah, that's an experience I'll never forget.
Please.
All right, let's go to the wheel. 4 more to go. I believe we can get them in before the top of the hour. They are spinning away. Victoryland open 24/7, 365, and it's going to land on the red panel, which is
Stolen Birds.
Okay.
SoFi Stadium, Los Angeles. What are they doing here? They've got 2 hawks that have been trained in a cart that have been stolen. The key was left in the ignition. What are you thinking?
Come on.
Don't leave the key in the the hawks are used by a falconer to deter other birds during the game. I thought about that once.
Yep. Sure.
Because SoFi is a beautiful place, but it's open air. It's just covered, right? And I can imagine, I'm thinking, man, they must have a terrible time with pigeons and stuff roosting in the skyboxes. You got to clean, to use Brian Matthews' phrase, you got to clean bird poop.
Yes, that's right.
Use that in reference to Auburn's offense, all the time. So they got these 2 hawks that basically chase the other birds out of there. And you leave the keys in the ignition and they steal the hawks. The guy didn't want the hawks. He just wanted the cart.
Sure. Come on. Put the keys back in the workshop area. Teacup holder.
That's exactly right. When you're given change, even though Lou has been losing at the track, that's what that's
for.
Ridiculous. Here we go. Back at it.
Be thinking. Think about that.
All right.
Purple, red, and aqua are left on the Victoryland 777 topic wheel. Purple is the color.
My man Chunk.
My man Chunk.
Yep. The Chunk was the name of one of the Goonies in the Goonie. In the Goonies, he is now an entertainment lawyer. This is a fat bear, and his nickname is Chunk.
Yes.
Yeah.
In the river looking for some salmon.
I guess feeling pretty good. Here, this is, they got something called Fat Bear Week.
Huh.
Didn't they used to have that in the Greek system in Tuscaloosa?
I think they did. I was trying to think about what sorority that was. Yeah.
No, I wasn't thinking about sororities,
Oh,
but I was thinking about fraternities. But that one guy. You always had that one guy in every fraternity that was a big beer drinker, packed about an extra 60 or 70 and was proud of it.
His nickname was Slim.
He was the one more than anybody else in the whole fraternity. If he goes about 310, 320 and he's called Chunk or Slim or something like that, he is the one guy in the fraternity that has his shirt off more around the frat house than anybody else.
Gut hanging out over his belt.
You've got to embrace that lifestyle.
Yeah. Good partier. Spin away. Let's see what we got. Interesting color combination there. Aqua and red.
Yeah.
You don't see that very often. It is going to land on the aqua panel. And
this is about the Phantom. Gotta be about the Phantom. Today I'm sorry. The Browns. Dylan Gabriel, big fan of him. The Browns have started off 1-3. My buddy Gunner ain't real happy with Flacco, even though he played well late last year. Dylan Gabriel, who is a Hawaiian, starting quarterback at UCF, then the starting quarterback at Oklahoma, then the starting quarterback at Oregon. He's just a rookie. He is going to get his first start for the Browns. I think he can get it done.
Okay.
I like him. He's got some moxie.
I mean, don't the Browns start out 1-3 every year? I mean, what's so different this year? Somebody gets every year they're like 1-3.
Yeah, they're not as good as they have been when they started 1-3. They stand a good chance of being like 1-6.
Oh, wait a minute. Hey, look, we're going after that first round draft picks. Don't be messing up my draft pick.
Don't be crowding the Saints at the bottom of the standings here. All right.
All right, one more to go. Here, let's spin it to make it official. It is
near choke.
7 topic with near choke.
You either choke or you don't. There ain't no
one or the
near
other.
choke.
Yeah, there's no near to it.
Oh, the tie. The tie with the Cowboys.
Come on. Who ties anymore? Just play the thing until somebody
this is
wins.
The Pat Dye thing. Okay. All right. So, in the waning moments, Green Bay kicks the field goal to tie. Instead of going for it on 4th down, they go for the tie.
Yeah.
That's what Pat Dye did against Syracuse in the Sugar Bowl one year. And people were screaming at him at it. He said, my team played well enough not to lose. I didn't want them to lose the game. So he kicks the field goal at the end to tie.
Isn't a tie kind of like losing? Do you really feel satisfied? Hey, we went out there for 4 quarters or whatnot, did a little overtime.
That's why John can't stand soccer.
Yeah.
I mean, you're playing 2 hours out there, 90 minutes plus stoppage time and stuff. You're playing out there. And all of a sudden, some referee blows a whistle and you go home?
Or you have some not penalty kicks, but they put the ball, it's like one-on-one, a kicker against the goalie. Well, just do that and get the game over with in 5 minutes.
John's all about getting a soccer match over in 5. Wait a minute, it's over with? Nobody won. How can you
got
leave?
all these people just standing around this extra large field that's way too big. And they play for 3 hours, and if it's a tie game, and let's get these 2 players out there and have a shootout. Well, just do that from the beginning. Quit wasting my time.
Well, that is our Gurn Jr. Victoryland 777 topic wheel, brought to you by Victoryland 777 Casino, exit 22 off I-85 in Shorter, Alabama, where you can be a winner too. And that's our live show for this Wednesday. First show of October. I like the energy, John.
Yeah, I did. I love the energy. Always good. Love our guests, C.J. Duncan, Robert Kahn, Josh Harris tomorrow.
Yes.
How about this? Jason Caldwell of Auburn Undercover at the bottom of hour number 1. Hour number 2 kicks off with Rodney Orr, the Tider Insider, brought to you exclusively by the Destin Connection Seafood Market.
Yep, that's coming up. It's Longshore McKnight in association with Yellowhammer News, presented by Bud Light.